welcome back to Messages from the 90s. Um, so I just got some stuff that I gotta say. I am using my blue book, but I'm not using my blue book because I actually want to use my blue book for other readings. So what I did was I got my handy dandy notebook. So I don't know how I'm gonna start off. Excuse me. Excuse me. So nasty. So this is what 42524. So blue book notes I'm gonna read. So it starts with scriptures. Yes, this is one of those videos. It is what it is. I got some stuff I gotta say, and we'll do some readings later. So the first one I have is Matthew 5:8. Now, typically, I would read before and after, but I am going to have to pass that book off to y'all. And y'all are going to have to look at it for yourself. Hmm. Son, um, oh yeah, what else? Saying? Passing that book to y'all. If you want to read for literature purposes, and not because it's the Bible. Just read because it's a book. Is what I'm trying to say. Read for the information. Read for the symbology. Read for the similes, the metaphors. Um, Not because it's just supposed to be the holy book, right? Verify with other holy books. Verify with the Ethiopian Bible. See what's different. See what's added. What's been left out. Verify with the Jewish Bible. Um, that's only going to have the Old Testament though. So verify, it's with books of the Apocrypha. That's they consider it's not really a part of the Bible. But either way, verify with history. I don't know. Either way, I need you to do a little bit of work, right? But let's get started. So Matthew 5:8 says, "Blessed are the pure of heart, for they shall see God." Matthew 19:26, "With God, all things are possible." Proverbs 3:5-6, "Trust in the Lord with all of your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths." Number 4, Psalms 107:1. "Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, for his mercies endure forever." Number 5, "Ask, and it shall be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and it will be open to you." Matthew 7:7. 6, Ephesians 2:8. "For it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not from yourselves. It is the gift of God." And then Galatians 5:22-23. "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self control. Against such things there is no law." Philippians 4:7 is going to be important. Revelation 19:11. Revelation 19:10. 1 King 13. 2 Samuel 12. And that is that for that. Let me go back. I really don't feel like I have to dumb down any of these scriptures for y'all to understand. So it goes into my first point. Relying on who or what. What are we relying on? Who are we relying on? And yes, even as somebody who pulls cards, let's get off of YouTube or social media. As somebody who has friends who come to me for advice, family members who come to me for advice, who or what are we relying on, right? So, Proverbs 3 5 through 6 says, trust in the Lord with all of your heart and lean not on your own understanding. So, this includes our understanding as well. Yes, as crazy as it seems, yes, we cannot be taking tarot readings, videos from prophets, apostles, whatever they want to call them, whatever we want to call ourselves, right? As 100% what it is. We need to be in a place where we're mature enough to seek a divine relationship for ourselves. And what I mean by divine relationship is, yes, God is going to send people to help you, right? Moses, Joshua, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Jesus. Um, it's so many people that he can send you and that he will send you. But we also have to rely on that true connection with God, with the divine. Because let's just say that we are, y'all, I hate having sidebar conversations because I don't remember what I be talking about. All right, relying on who or what. So I know I'm pretty sure I said a lot of stuff about that. We're not even trusting, and it's probably, I don't know where I stopped at, but we're not even trusting ourselves and our inner guidance. Half the time because we really don't have inner guidance, we haven't stopped to actually, maybe he should have shut the door because they loud. We haven't actually stopped to check ourselves. We don't know ourselves for real. If I could just be honest, we don't know if this is our own thoughts, if this is, something above us, something higher than us telling us to do something. So a lot of times we seek out other people to give us that confirmation, whether it's tarot readers, oracle readers, psychics, prophets, apostles, your church pastor, your youth leader, your mama, your daddy, your auntie, your grandma, your great grandma, your granddaddies, your friends, your lovers, your bosses, and coworkers. We're looking for confirmation because I wouldn't necessarily maybe it's acceptance in some cases, but we're looking for, hey, you're not making the wrong decision, or you're not, or you are making the wrong decision, do it this way, or hey, you should do it this way. We're not even trusting in our own inner guidance, right? But more so, we're not trusting in the one who made us. And I know we didn't come from no big bang. The big bang was in the beginning, the earth, the world, the universe was void. And then he said, That was the Big Bang. We were created, and we were created. Okay, I'm gonna just leave it like that. God's imprint is on our DNA. We were created from dust to dust, from dirt back to dirt. Okay? Um, I want to read something off of that. Who or what are we relying on? Relying on who or what? So, me and my husband podcast, we have an episode from when we first started. I think it's like 2 years old at this point. And the title of it, if I'm correct, is What's Controlling You? And it's the ideology that we are so enthralled in society and culture that we don't even recognize that culture and society is controlling us. We're constantly, especially, let's start with women. Women are being constantly shown how they should look, how they should wear their hair, and how they shouldn't, right? So a lot of times, women, we go and get surgeries to look or have a certain aesthetic. We go and do this thing to have a certain aesthetic because society is telling us this is the idea of beauty. And nobody, some people are, but the majority, we're not listening to ourselves to say, well, hey, actually, this is my idea of beauty. Your idea of beauty can be to wear wigs and to wear makeup because that is who you choose to be, right? But it shouldn't be based off of what society has imprinted upon you. And most of us don't know what society has imprinted upon us. We are born in this world in sin simply because of society and culture. Because we have no choice. We're being born into it without choice. We grow up in sin and think it's normal or think it's not sin. And it's normal. I'm not saying that to wear wigs or makeup or to do this or to do that is sin. I'm just saying that we are born into a world where we don't necessarily form our own thoughts and patterns and ideologies because most of it is being thrust upon us, right? We're not choosing. And most of the time, in black communities, we are not going to our creator because we feel like there is no creator, right? If we could just be real, we feel like we are the creator. We feel like that though God is in us, a lot of us don't take the aspect that God is in us and outside of us. We consider ourselves God, 5%ers, and we're not God. And I don't want that burden to be God, right? I would rather be the co-creator and not the creator. That's a lot of pressure. And also, never mind, because I was about to go a little shady. That's just so unnecessary, Kristen. I'm not God. God is in me, and God is also without me, right? So in most everything I do, I go to God about it. Yeah, I might look at a reading. I might go ask my mama for advice. I might ask my husband. I might ask my friends. I might ask my little babies, my kids for advice about something. But at the end of the day, if God told me to do something, I'm going to do it. And so a lot of times we, if we are connected to God in that way, we need to stop going and looking for confirmation or advice or how we should maneuver something if God already told us to do something a certain way. You are going to disqualify yourself by constantly going to other people when God already told you what to do, what to say, how to move, right? You're going to cancel yourself out. For those of you who are not connected in that type of way, I get it. You're looking for confirmation. You're looking for somebody to be like, hey, yeah, no, you should, or God told me. I get that, but can we start to form and create that relationship ourselves with the Most High? And it's a simple conversation. Like you would talk to your homies. This is how I talk to God. Like I talk to y'all, like I talk to my husband, like I talk to my kids. I talk to God the same way, but with so much reverence. Like God is my homie. I talk to God like he my NIGGA. I literally that is this may sound. I literally call him that as well. Like yo, bro, like what's going on? You know what I'm going through? Like what's like this? Like what's going on? Like God, help me out. I can't figure like what. I have real conversations. God, I'm like this is killing me. I can't breathe right now, God. I don't know where I'm going, Lord. God, I this job. God, I need this job. Like God, I need this to pan. God, Lord, I just need. Lord, I want to see. Lord, God, like I, my conversations, and I know I keep fragmenting because I mean my conversations with God is my conversations with God, as you should have your own. But I'm just trying to give an example of how I communicate with God. I'm not on my knees all the time talking to God. Now there's sometimes where I'm on my knees in my face. There's sometimes where I'm standing up. My eyes ain't closed and I'm just having a conversation. Sometimes I can't even speak. I'm crying so much and God understands those words as well. Right? So I want to do no, that's swatting. Um I want to read this and like I said, take this as so I'm a flip flop. I'm gonna read something from Revelation 19:10. It also goes with something else I'm about to get into. But then I'm gonna read you a story out the Bible, right? So Revelation 19:10, I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, and he's talking about the Messiah, about Jesus. He's saying, it was so, let me get a backstory. Had a vision, saw Jesus come out the throne, and so he began to immediately fall and worship. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Jesus. Worship God. For the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. Who are you relying on? What are you relying on? Who are you worshiping? What are you worshiping? Who are you placing on this pedestal? What are you placing on this pedestal? Even in this book, the Holy Bible, it says that Jesus said, look, and this is something that most Christians fail to acknowledge, is that all throughout Jesus's, the Messiah's walk and journey, he exclaimed that the only one who should get the honor and glory is God, not even him, even though he was flesh of his spirit, right? Jesus even understood in this moment, I'm human. It doesn't matter what prophecies I give, what stories I tell you. what the healings, the people I restored, right? It matters, but it doesn't matter because I'm not the one truly who had the power. It's still God who had the power. And the crazy thing is, Jesus was God. From the Bible they give us, right? Jesus was a part of God. Meanwhile, Jesus' whole mission was, no, I'm a part of y'all. I'm human. I am flesh. I am your brother. I am equal to you. Yes, God gave me the authority. But you also can have that same authority. But who are you relying on? What are you relying on? Simon, you're relying on fish, right? Meanwhile, I can make you a fisher of men. God wants to make you a fisher of men. Not just a fisher of seas, a fisher of land. So here's the story, right? And this one's gonna be long, so please bear with me. 1 Kings 13. And behold, there came a man of God out of Judah by the word of the Lord unto Bethel, and Jeroboam stood by the altar to burn incense. And he cried against the altar in the word of the Lord, and said, O altar, altar, thus saith the Lord, behold, a child shall be born unto the house of David, Josiah by name, and upon these shall he offer the priests of the high places that burn incense upon thee. And men's bones shall be burnt upon thee. And he gave a sign the same day, saying, This is the sign which the Lord hath spoken. Behold, the altar shall be rent, and the ashes that are upon it shall be poured out. And it came to pass, when King Jeroboam heard the saying of the man of God, which had cried against the altar in Bethel, that he put forth his hand from the altar, saying, Lay hold on him. And his hand, which he put forth against him, dried up, so that he could not pull it in again to him. The altar also was rent, and the ashes poured from the altar, according to the sign which the man of God had given by the word of the Lord. And the king answered and said unto the man of God, Entreat now the face of the Lord thy God, and pray for me, that my hand may be restored me again. And the man of God besought the Lord, and the king's hand was restored him again, and became as it was before. And the king said unto the man of God, Come home with me, and refresh thyself, and I will give thee a reward. And the man of God said unto the king, If thou wilt give me half thine house, I will not go in with thee. Neither will I eat bread nor drink water in this place. For so was it charged me by the word of the Lord, saying, Eat no bread, nor drink water, nor turn again by the same way that thou camest. So he went another way, and returned not by the way that he came to Bethel. Now there dwelt an old prophet in Bethel, and his sons came and told him all the works that the man of God had done that day in Bethel, the words which he had spoken unto the king, them that they told also to their father. And their father said unto them, What way went he? For his sons had seen what way the man of God went, which came from Judah. And he said unto his sons, Saddle me the ass. So they saddled him the ass, and he rode thereon, and went after the man of God, and found him sitting under an oak. And he said unto him, Art thou the man of God that camest from Judah? And he said, I am. Then he said unto him, Come home with me, and eat bread. And he said, I may not return with thee, nor go in with thee, neither will I eat bread nor drink water with thee in this place. For it was said to me by the word of the Lord, Thou shalt eat no bread, nor drink water there, nor turn again to go by the way that thou camest. He said unto him, I am a prophet. Also, as thou art, an angel spake unto me by the word of the Lord. An angel spoke unto me by the word of the Lord, saying, Bring him back with these into thine house, that he may eat bread and drink water. But he lied unto him. So he went back with him and did eat bread in his house and drink water. And it came to pass, as they sat at the table, that the word of the Lord came unto the prophet that brought him back. And he cried unto the man of God that came from Judah, saying, Thus saith the Lord, for as much as thou hast disobeyed the mouth of the Lord, and hast not kept the commandment which the Lord thy God commanded thee, but camest back and hast eaten bread and drunk water in the place of the which the Lord did say to thee, Eat no bread, drink no water, and thy carcass shall not come into the sepulchre of thy fathers. And it came to pass, after he had eaten bread, and after he had drunk, that he saddled for him the ass, to wit, for the prophet whom he had brought back. And when he was gone, a lion met him by the way, and slew him, and his carcass was cast in the way, and the ass stood by it, the lion also stood by the carcass. And behold, men passed by and saw the carcass cast in the way, and the lion standing by the carcass, and they came and told it in the city where the old prophet dwelt. And when the prophet that brought him back from the way there heard thereof, he said, It is the man of God who is disobedient unto the word of the Lord. Therefore the Lord hath delivered him unto the lion, which hath torn him and slain him, according to the word of the Lord which he spake unto him. And he spake to his son, saying, Saddle me the ass. And they saddled him. And he went and found his carcass cast in the way, and the ass and the lion standing by the carcass. The lion had not eaten the carcass, nor torn the ass. And the prophet took up the carcass of the man of God, and laid it upon the ass, and brought it back. And the old prophet came to the city to mourn and to bury him. And he laid his carcass to his own grave. And they mourned over him, saying, Alas, my brother. And it came to pass, after he had buried him, that he spake to his son, saying, When I am dead, then bury me in the sepulchre wherein the man of God is buried. Lay my bones beside his bones. For the saying which he cried by the word of the Lord against the altar in Bethel, and against all the houses of the high places which are in the cities of Samaria, shall surely come to pass. After this thing, Jeroboam returned not from his evil ways, but made again of the lowest of the people priests of the high places. Whosoever would, he consecrated him, and he became one of the priests of the high places. And this thing became sin unto the house of Jeroboam, even to cut it off and to destroy it from off the face of the earth. So, in layman's terms, 1 Kings 13 talks about a prophet who is in the temple at the altar to burn incense. Well, he wasn't there to burn incense. The king was, sorry. And God was against burning incense, right? That was against God. So he told the prophet, hey, give this word. Let the king Jeroboam know this is going to be poured out. You're no longer going to be able to burn incense, and it's going to be okay. I'm not going to no longer allow this to slip past, right? And I'm going to give you a sign right in this moment. So in that moment, Jeroboam decided he wanted to stick his hand over near the altar. And voila, his hand is turned to ash, to stone, to whatever. He couldn't move his hand. Stone. And when it happened, he begged the prophet to restore his hand, to have a concert with God so that his hand could be restored. And God obliged and gave him back his hand. That was the sign for these things to come. God then told this prophet, hey, this is your next mission. This is what you need to do. When you do it, go back home. So his mission was to give that word. He wasn't supposed to eat, wasn't supposed to drink, wasn't supposed to do anything but do what he was called to do, go back home. The king propositioned him. He said, hey, no, bro. God told me I can't eat with you, can't drink with you, can't kick it with you, can't party with you, can't chill with you. I gotta go. And I can't even go back the way I came. So that I gotta go a different way. So I need to go now because this journey about to be a little long. I added that little part in there, but that's just how I feel like if I gotta go a different way than the way I came, I obviously gotta figure out from that different way how to get home, right? I might have to walk longer. It might be shorter. But what if that distance is a little bit longer? I feel like God did that for two reasons. It was, one, a test. And two, well, I guess it both was a test in a way because people were going to hear about what happened. So going the opposite way from where he came, he's not going to have to face crowds of people that's going to take him off his mission. He's going down a different path, a different road. Two, it was a test because we got this old prophet who pops up. His sons run back. Hey, Pops, look. Let me tell you what happened today. This man of God got a word and he restored the king's hand, man. It was crazy. His hand was gone. He restored it. What? He did what? Where this prophet at? Where this young buck at? Right? Well, I know where he went. He went that way. He didn't go back down 10th Street. He went down 16th. Bet. And we know for sure this was an old prophet. Now, old doesn't mean necessarily outdated. It doesn't mean broken. It doesn't mean anything, right? It just means he was old. But it could mean broken, outdated. It could mean that he's no longer connected, right? As we go through the scripture, we realize he just might not be connected, right? Because we have the young prophet who's heard from the Lord. So the old prophet goes out on his donkey, goes searching for the young prophet, finds him taking a rest underneath the oak tree, and maybe he shouldn't even have rested, right? He maybe should have kept going. Sometimes, you should just keep going in order to get home and not be loitering in certain places. Wrong time, wrong place. Is definitely true. The old prophet sees him under the oak and said, hey, yeah, I heard what you did, buddy. Come back to the crib with me. Let's kick it. Let's talk about your missions, your ventures. Let me see if I can help you. Well, I can't. Well, the angel, and it's not like, let's be real, the sons told it all. They repeated everything the young prophet told the king, including the fact that he told him, the Lord told me not to eat, to drink, to go, to parlay, to kick it. He told me to do this and go home. So they knew. They repeated it back. So that old prophet knew. Which is why the old prophet had to, in turn, for one, I feel like, let's be real, he was a little bit smart in his thinking. Because I honestly feel like that old prophet was like, well, the Lord told me. I feel like the Lord would have struck him down or right then and there. He would have made an ass out of him for real. Right? But he said an angel of the Lord gave word by the Lord and told me that you can come kick it, you can come chill, you can come eat, drink, be merry. And because the young prophet, trusting and looking at the maturity of the old prophet, the years behind the old prophet, what we like to think of knowledge, wisdom behind the old prophet, teachings behind the old prophet, and possibly still that divine connection with the Most High with that old prophet, right? So he trusted his word and not the word of God. And he went with that old prophet to go eat with that old prophet. And he no longer got a word from the Lord, but guess what God did to that old prophet? Hey, I told him not to go there. I told him not to do this. And I told him it will be at the detriment of him. But you told him to do it. And now he's going to die. And so the old prophet, trying to clean up a lie, trying to get him out of his hair, sends him on. After putting the blame on him, well, God told you not to come here. Why did you listen to me? If God told you not to come here, you need to leave. And what happens to the young prophet? The young prophet gets on that road that he should have been traveling. He should have already been gone down. But because he went back the other way, maybe that's why that lion was there ready to devour him, right? Because if he would have never went back, if he would have carried his tail down that road like God told him to, he would never encounter that old prophet who was a liar, manipulator. He would have never met up with the lion who mauled him and didn't even eat him. Left him there for show. But because he listened to somebody else and not the word that he got from God, it cost him. It cost him. Who are you relying on? What are you relying on? Yes, we pull cards. Yes, we whatever. If you happen to be friends with some of these people, they can give you a little bit more in depth. You buy a reading from these people, they give you a little bit more insight, right? But who and what are you relying? Are you truly relying on the Most High? Because yes, at times he will send these people to give you confirmation of what he said. Hey, in the times where he feel like, hey, okay, it might be a little iffy. I understand. Let me just put this in front of them so they know, hey, no. Remember what I told you, right? Remember what I told you to do. Don't pay attention to what they're doing. Moses is a prime example, and the reason he lost his anointing. God told him to do what? Let's find out. Because I want to read this verbatim. Numbers 20. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, take the rod, and gather thou assembly together, thou and Aaron thy brother, and speak ye unto the rock before their eyes, and it shall give forth his water, and thou shalt bring forth to them water out of the rock. So thou shalt give the congregation and their beasts drink. And Moses took the rod from before the Lord and as he commanded him. And Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock, and he said unto them, Hear now, ye rebels, must we fetch you water out of this rock? And Moses lifted up his hand with his rod, and he smote the rock twice, not once, twice. And the water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and their beasts also. Right? Let me stop it right there. Anybody listening to this, like, what? He got water. Because, oh ye of little hearing at this point, God told Moses to speak to the rock. Moses let all that white noise, them folks in that congregation and in them tribes was talking, get in his ear. Okay? And so because they was in his ear, oh, we starving, we hungry, God is forsaking us, you got us in wandering for 40 years. Not realizing they the reason they was wandering for 40 years. Moses let that white noise stop him from listening to God. God said, speak to it. It's going to give you water. Speak to it. It's going to give you water. Moses hit it not once, but twice. Disobedience. It gave water, right? But this is what also happened. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, Because ye believed me not, to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore ye shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them. This is the water of Meribah, because the children of Israel strove with the Lord, and he was sanctified in them. Oh my gosh, that bird scared me. So I don't even got to read no more. It says they was in Kadesh. So their disobedience caused them to wander. And God still placed somebody. He gave them somebody to rely on who God thought was going to rely on God, right? So he raised up Moses and said, hey, go free your people. Go free my people. Go save my children. He went to the people, hey, I'm sending you somebody who's coming for you on my behalf. Moses saved them, right? Got them out of Egypt. Yes, it was scary. It was full of turmoil. It was an adventure, to say the least. And then when they got close to where God wanted them to be, the people started doubting. But Moses wasn't there yet. Moses still believed. Moses kept going. Moses kept listening to God until that white noise became too much. And then he started listening to the people and questioning God. And he started moving outside of God's will. And the moment he did that, the moment the leader, the moment the prophet, the moment that person that God put in place for you to rely on moves out of step with God, it canceled out the whole promise. It canceled out the promise. They were not allowed to move into that land no matter what. And no matter what they tried, they were blocked at every turn. And most of them had to die in order for them to be able to start a new journey to that promised land. Read it. All the generations had to be knocked off until it was like new babies. The ones who didn't know, who knew about Egypt, who knew about the wandering but wasn't a part of none of it. Didn't eat the manna, didn't suffer, didn't see the water coming out the rock after it was hit twice. These people only heard oral renditions of what happened. That's how far removed God wanted that disobedience. No matter what you come across, no matter who's talking to you, and I tell my friends, my husband, my family, whoever I'm talking to, if they come to me for advice or if I give the advice because God is urging me to still go seek God, take it to God. Right? Okay. This is going to lead into urban legend. Right? So completely different. But I don't know, I was relaxed to watch Urban Legends last night, and it's just a couple of things that stuck out that kind of was, and it's in the very beginning of the movie. So the opening credits. So you got let me see if I can, I think I got it pulled up. Let me see if I can, what is camera? Okay, I'm gonna have to. Shoot. Okay, I'm gonna have to move this to the screen. Oh, I see it up there. Isn't? Oh shit. All right. Oh my goodness, this is real tiny. Let's turn off the volume. So I'm gonna switch it to my other screen real quick so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Is it 3? Yay. That's that. And so in the very beginning, it's actually, let me turn up the volume.
Last week we discussed folklore. Today we get more specific. This is what we call an urban legend. Temporary folklore passed on as a true story. Something you might have heard about seeing pop rocks.
Okay, so it didn't show, and let me go back to me. It didn't show, let me see if I can drag this back over. I don't know how.
So
crap. Back over here. Okay, so it didn't show the full intro in the beginning because this is the trailer. But the very first thing was that white horse, right, that y'all saw with a tri-star. And so that white horse is found in Revelation 19:11. And like I said, I read y'all 19:10. That was the verse right before this, in which he saw a being come out the throne of God, and quote unquote, it was with the Messiah, and he was telling him, hey, Don't worship me. Like, worship God only. I'm just, you know, your brother in Christ, basically. I am Christ, but I'm just your brother in this. Jesus was a prophecy, a fulfillment of a prophecy. He's not to be worshipped and to be put on this pedestal as an idol. We've made idols of everything. That wooden cross is an idol hanging on some of y'all walls around y'all necks. And I'm just going to be for real, back in that day, nobody was hanging on a cross. They was hanging from trees. Even back in BC era, that was what it was meant to be, crucified, to be hung from a tree, an actual tree on a rope, not to be put or nailed to a cross. But that's another time, another day. 1911 is the next verse after Jesus is saying, hey, worship God, not me. 1911 says, and I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he doth judge and make war. His name is called the Word of God. And then it was some more stuff that come after that. And I honestly feel like, once again, we're talking about Messiah, the other part of God. Faithful and true, God is. But God is requiring you to be faithful and true as well. And do it in righteousness. Because he is judging, not us. We don't have a place to judge. We don't have a place to make war. That's God's place, rights, power, authority. Then we have the Phoenix, which was rebirth, restoration, revelation, the ending, so that something new, fresh can begin. It's not here yet, but it's coming, whether by our own hands or by God's divine intervention. Revelation never says that God is going to be the reason that this is going to shake. I'm willing to bet 9 out of 10 it's going to be man's doing, man's hand, because it always is. Where God tells us to do one thing, we go and do something else. So the world is not coming to a close because of God. In fact, you will be probably saved because of God. Whereas because of man, this world is coming to a close pretty fast. But there will be restoration, there will be rebirth, there will be a tearing of down, a burning down, a destruction. Whether that's mindsets, ideologies, environmentally, physically, emotionally. And then at the very beginning, when it opens up with a rain coming down. And I think urban legends comes across the screen. In that moment, I heard them say they're not going to believe it until it starts to rain. And it put me back into Noah's mindset. Now, a few days ago, I was having a conversation with my husband about all this water coming up. And I was like, is a flood coming or something? Literally the same day, I got word that the China flood was happening. So I just kind of pushed that out. But once again, they're not going to believe it until it starts to rain. It's an urban legend until it happens. And it may not be, so the rain, it may not be actual water, right? So I'm getting on one end actual destruction, right? So whether it's rain, whether it's fire, whether it's lightning, whatever, I'm getting an actual downpour of fall, of destruction, of chaos. They're not going to believe it until it happens. They're not going to believe in me until it happens. And then they're not going to believe it until it happens. They're not going to believe in these blessings. They're not going to believe in this abundance, this windfall, this rainfall, this overflow until it happens. My next point, which kind of goes from urban legends to my next last few points. In urban legends, the girl was trying to recreate urban legends to bring infamy to herself, to the people she killed, to the stories themselves. At the very end, during the movie, some of the stories you find out, okay, some of this stuff did happen and was covered up by this one particular school. At the end, the killer is supposed to be dead. She ends up coming back at the end at another school, possibly the same school, they changed the name, but at a school, and they're all sitting around like at the beginning of the movie discussing urban legends, telling them the story of what happened to the first school. And to them, it's urban legends. It didn't happen, right? She's there. She's like, no, let me tell you what really happened. And she knows what happened because she's the one who did it. She's the one who did it. She's the one that created it. So essentially, in her sight, seeing once again a new group of people that she can replace from the first group. It leads me to this, back to the Bible. God knows what has happened. God sees what has happened. Because more than likely, God has orchestrated what has been happening, right? Even if you look at Job's situation, and that sometimes going back to one of my videos, I put qualify your thoughts, qualify your situations. Because sometimes you think that somebody's doing something to you, it could still be the devil. Somebody's doing this or that, but it's at the order or the allowance of God for your benefit. God sometimes will send you people towards you that are meant to do the things to you. I know it sounds crazy, and he doesn't, okay, let me change that. He doesn't send people towards you. He allows them to do certain stuff, okay, for one. Because one, he knows that you are capable of handling it and transmuting it into something better and beautiful. He also does it for the other person because nobody believes in karma, but everybody believes in karma. So, some people think that they can tear people down, that they can do certain things to people, and that there are no repercussions, right? Some people think they'll get in a situation off the notion that they can play you and carry you. And in the end, God uses that as a test for them and their character and their morals. just so that they can get what's owed to them and you can get what's owed to you. Now that's going to go over a lot of people's head because we don't like to look at situations like that. But if you look at Job, Satan went to God about Job. Satan was bored. Yo, I've been running up and down the world, trying to find something to do, trying to find somebody to mess with, trying to find somebody to take down, and I ain't finding nobody. And God just threw it out. Have you considered Job? Now, bro, why would I consider Job? You got protection around him. He can't be touched. Obviously, Satan tried to touch him before, couldn't be touched. So, the moment that Job started going through this, he should have realized, hey, this is a test. But we don't do it because we're in the situation. It's hard to realize why we're going through something when we're going through something. But God knew Job. He trusted Job to have real conversations with him. Hey, God, like, yo, what did I do to deserve this? I ain't do. Surely if I did something, point it out. Surely I got to be wrong. If this is happening to me, surely I did something in my past life, this current life. Obviously, I did something in my next life for this to be going wrong. Meanwhile, God, like, look at my son. Nah, kid, you ain't do that. You actually didn't even deserve none of this. But because you've been running to me, you've been talking to me, even with your friends in the background, yippity-yapping, trying to give you that fake advice, telling you this and telling you that, telling you how you should act, how you should react, what you should do, how you should maneuver, you still came to me and trusted me with it. Bet. Because of that, your friends actually gonna have to suffer because they telling you stuff that's about to get you kicked out of my good grace. They telling you not to feel a certain type of way. They telling you that you shouldn't talk to me and question what's going on. And actually, that's what I want you to do. Yeah, I know. I let Satan take that from you. But I'm going to give it back. Yeah, I know you lost your house, your kids, your job, your money, your land, your business, your car, your job, your mama, your daddy, your siblings, your cousin. You lost yourself. But I'm going to give it back. Don't worry, you held fast. I'm going to give it back. And I'm not just going to give you one kid back. I'm going to give you 10. I know that shit broke you down. But I ain't going to just give you that same house back. I'm going to give you that one and another one. Yo, I know it ruined you. I heard you, Ryan. I'm not going to give you that job back, though. I'm about to give you this business. Yeah, that pain was tremendous. Yeah, I know I allowed them to do some stuff to you when you was a kid. Yeah, some stuff happened that I didn't want to happen, but I'm changing it for your glory. Yeah, that happened. But now you're going to be able to take that and you're going to be able to speak to other little girls, other little boys. You're going to be able to take that and you're going to be able to change somebody else's life. You're going to be able to take that and tell somebody how you was able to still love people after they hurt you. Yes. Yep. Yes, it was allowed. Yes, for a moment I took down that head so they could just penetrate you. But don't ever for a second think that I was going to allow them to just kill you. They couldn't kill you. Because if they killed you, I couldn't give back everything they took from you. So yes, while you at rock bottom, while you feel like you can't see the forest for the trees, you ain't dead though. They couldn't kill you though. Because I got to be able to give you back everything you lost. Yeah, that person said you was never going to amount to nothing. But guess what? You going to amount to something. 3 times as much as them. David replaced Saul. Esther replaced Vashti. Joshua replaced Moses. Eliakim replaced Shebna. The place I have you, and this goes back to old prophet, young prophet, old and new. Who are you listening to? Who are you putting your ear on? Who are you putting your weight on? God said he told Saul to hold on, to wait, to have some patience, have a little faith. I'm going to come through. I'm going to spin the block for you. Saul didn't have that patience. Saul burnt an offering before it was time. Saul tried to move before God because he was afraid that God wasn't going to come through. Meanwhile, not even knowing years prior, God already seen this and made Saul raise up David. So when the moment Saul burnt that offering to God, David was activated. He was already in position from years prior when Saul sought him out in that field to play an instrument. He spent years playing an instrument. Just to turn around and be king over somebody's lack of faith, lack of obedience, lack of self-control. Esther became queen because Vashti held no humility. She was too prideful. And I'm not saying no, it wasn't right that she had to be paraded in front of men. Absolutely not. But see, when Esther was ordained, it was written, or should I say spoken, that she would not be paraded. So the boundaries were put in place beforehand, but she walked in humility and grace. And she was blessed for that. She also had to be put in place anyway for Israel's sake. That's another story. Moses, we already heard about Moses. Moses was good until he wasn't. He let the white noise of what everyone around him was saying and forgot what God was whispering in his ear. God was talking to him directly. Moses ain't have to seek no tarot reader, no daggone priest, no cousin, no mama, no auntie, no uncle. Moses had a direct line with the OG, G-O-D, right? But because he listened to the white noise of the folks in the field, like most of us will cancel ourselves out for, the people around us who feel like J. Cole, prime example, right? J. Cole came out and apologized, which I don't care what you say. I applaud his apology as a man, as a spiritual being, as a light worker, light being. But he listened to that white noise around him. Hey, bro, they over here talking cash money. They saying you enough. They saying that you ain't up. Word. Let me go ahead and cut a track. When his spirit told him not to do it. When his spirit knew that didn't bother his spirit, he knew who he was. He knew who he is. He knows who he is. He didn't have to even respond. But the white noise, he himself said the white noise caused him to create a track that bothered his spirit. He couldn't even sleep because he wasn't supposed to do it. But he moved off of the crowd around him. So did Moses. And Moses lost his anointing. So much so, they wandered for 40 years. They were rebuked or rebelled against. They were murdered, martyred, starved, to the point they had to wipe out all the generations for the babies to not know or have had experience with what they did, but only have oral tradition off of the white noise. When all he had to do was speak to the rock, and it would have gave forth water. He hit it not once, but twice. Shebna and Eliakim. Now these are priests. And Shebna was replaced by Eliakim because Shebna, and they had the city in greed and drunkenness and laziness and stupor. And because of that, God raised up Eliakim and made sure that everybody who was in place before Eliakim was put into captivity or put to death. He cleaned house. In a lot of these instances, he cleaned house. When he spoke to Israel, and we love to go back to Israel, the state, but Israel was never a state. It was always the people. Israel and Judah. Israel and Judah. Israel, so disobedient. He made countries overtake them and overthrow them and put them into captivity. So did Judah. And at the end, they both came together and was in captivity and destroyed and dispersed together. It wasn't just the tribe of Judah that was dispersed or the tribe of Israel. It was all of them until it was a small remnant. And then they too were dispersed. They would join together and then dispersed again. For lack of obedience. For lack of faithfulness. For lack of putting their weight on God. They put it on these idols and their ancestors and these other gods. Oshun, Baal, Moloch, whatever else pop up. Idols, whether it's crosses, snakes, altars, incense. And see, a lot of this stuff, I don't like incense. I don't honestly think it's bad to burn incense. I don't think a lot of stuff that we do is necessarily bad. It's our intentions behind what we're doing and what we're trying to invoke when we're doing it. God knows your heart posture. God knows when you out there helping somebody and you're recording yourself doing it just so you can post so people can clap for you. God said be thankful for that public applause because he's not giving you a private one. God know when you really out here trying to help somebody and trying to better them and lift them up and help them grow through something versus where you trying to feel like you just know something and you're better than somebody and you're trying to put yourself on a pedestal. God knows. God sees how you take pride in somebody else's downfall, whether he told you it was going to happen or not. And he said, because you take pride in it, I'm not going to allow it to happen now. Or because you take pride in it, let's swap places now. Where they were losing and you were coming up, now you're losing and they're coming up. God knows our hearts. And more so, we love to the universe this and this. So if we're all energy, right? And we know this energy, we know this. Well, when we go get our heart checked, what they put us on EKGs, Holter monitors, all these electrical wires to check that pumper, right? So if your heart is a electromagnetic organ, what's in your heart that you're putting out into this world? Because you're going to attract it, you're going to detract it, subtract it. Last but not least, I know this world is in, this world is a shit show. Let's be honest. The world is in chaos, turmoil, and confusion. It's a shit show. Whether we're talking about YouTube, tarot readers, because I had to switch to a different page. And I couldn't even be on my regular page because just of the chaos that's come on my timeline. And I don't even follow these tarot readers. I follow, I think, 2 or 3 tarot readers, and I might unfollow them the way the guy has been talking. Or except myself, I do follow my tarot page. That's the given. I'm going to follow everything I do. I'm my biggest fan. But, and you should be your biggest fan as well. Okay? It's a lot of chaos. And I don't want to live in a state of chaos, confusion, upheaval, turmoil, constant state of towers, death, changes, wheels, cycles, the world. Like, yeah, I'm naming tarot cards, but that's exactly what it is. I don't want to live constantly in a place where I'm subjecting myself to bullshit constantly. And I don't understand why you would want to either. God, and I know we like to think we're the only ones God is talking to. But as you can see from our little deep dive today, that God be talking to a lot of people at the same time. And then God also be talking to one person and not the other person. Right? Let me say this before I get back to this. So this is how I feel about religions. I grew up in all types of churches, whether it was Catholic, Buddhist, not Buddhist, Catholic, Baptist, Antioch, Pentecostal, Christian. My grandmother was a Jehovah. All different walks of faith, right? I've read many different religious books. I've studied intermittently on my own time. Historical books. The CIA website. All religions, and let me take me on a surface level, but how I feel is all religions, whether we're talking about Taoism, Buddhism, Christianity, whatever. The Quran. So the books and the religions, but the books themselves. The main message of these books is love. Love for yourself, love for people around you, love for the things around you, and reverence. Reverence for yourself, the people around you, the things around you, and the things above you, and that's bigger than you, and love for it, right? So, love yourself, love others, love the world, love God. Love God first, then you can love yourself, then you can love others, and love other things around you. Other things as in animals and nature and the earth, trees, not like materials and stuff like that, right? They all talk about love and reverence, becoming one with self, with nature, love and reverence. What if, because I know we have a hard time believing, these books come from the same God? Just as what? Just as God talked to, or God raised up David and Saul in the same sentence, in the same generation, in the same timeline, why can't, or how God talked to multiple people at the same time, why can't that be, or at different timelines, like how God went from Moses to Joshua, Saul to David? Why can't these religions be the same? Well, since Jesus, Yeshua, Emmanuel, the Messiah, all these different names, I sent part of me in Jesus, what we Christians know as Jesus, to speak to you in the way that I know would reach you. I sent myself in Buddha to speak to them in the way that would reach them. I sent myself in Muhammad to speak to them in the way that would reach them, where I sent them all with the same message, the same abilities, the same power, maybe in a different timeline, time frame, lineage, culture. But it was in order to get my word spoken, my truth, my divinity, and to show them that there is something greater and bigger than them, that loves them, that wants to take care of them, that needs them just as much as they need me. But because we come from such a cultured, societal mindset, we fear those same things. We don't even look at just the core of it to see that it's steeped in love and grace and reverence. The same way that some of these tarot readers, people in general, prophets, apostles, your friends, your family, they look at you or other people and say, I hear from God. There's no way you can hear from God. Or, what you saying you heard from God ain't what I heard. Newsflash, baby, it ain't. Maybe. Sometimes God gives us all different words for the bigger story, right? Maybe we all got chapters in this novel, and we're not called to write a complete novel. We're just called to write a chapter, or a page, or a paragraph, or a sentence. But we are so stuck in this judgmental mentality that we believe that God is the only one talking to us, or that God can't be talking to somebody else when he himself said the fruits. The fruit. The fruit. If you're going to judge something, judge the fruit. And I don't think we're judging the fruit, we're judging the tree. A tree that we don't understand why God would place this tree here when I'm the tree God placed here. Actually, I needed two trees. Because you give oranges and they give apples. And y'all both need to be here because some people are allergic to oranges. Some people are allergic to apples. But some of us are going to, in turn, be a Saul, be a Moses, be a Vashti, and lose our position because we're telling people that they can't be with God. They can't possibly be hearing from God. They can't possibly be in walking with God because I am. And hopefully you will want everybody to be walking with God. So that's not a win-win if you're the only one walking with God. If you're the only chosen one, that's not a win-win when we know the Bible say 144 anyway. It ain't 144, it's 144,000. So you already one of the number, right? We gotta be mindful of how we come across people, what we say to people. I spent a majority of my life being told who I was and who I wasn't by people who knew me and people who didn't know me. And the people who knew me were the ones trying to tell me who I wasn't. And the people who didn't know me were the ones trying to tell me who I was. And those two still were incorrect. Going off of their own ideologies, heart posture, their prejudgment, preconceived notions. If you know that God has been talking to you, that God told you to move a certain way, God told you to move to that state, that country, God told you to start that page, God told you to speak up and say that, God told you to release that song, God told you to paint that picture, God told you to go make that friend, God told you to release that friend, God told you to get in that relationship, God told you to get out of that relationship, God told you to start that business, God told you to shut that business down. If God told it, baby, you are going to do yourself a disservice by listening to anybody outside of God. And you going to create yourself as a carcass on the side of that road. I really don't know how to put it in any other way. And it took me a long time to, because when I first started, oh God, I feel like, oh God wouldn't talk to you like that. Oh God, da 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 da. And you know, so I took some of that to heart because some of those people I looked up to, people in the church community, people I looked at as leaders and mentors, and I'm just like, hold on, wait. Let me go back to God, because maybe I'm not. Maybe I am wrong. Because I don't have no problem always self-checking me, right? That's one thing I've always done, which has helped me to grow. Also has caused other issues as well. Can't lie, because there are circumstances where I know I wasn't wrong, but yet I'm self-checking me. when I should have just been checking that other person or situation or maneuvering out of it, maneuvering in it, whatever I'm supposed to be doing. But in the meantime, I'm self-checking me because hold on, maybe it is me. So in that moment, I was like, oh, let me take a step back because you've been around a lot longer than me. I don't know. Maybe your connection with God is a little bit stronger than mine. And I went back to God. Hey, God, in my kitchen, God, they said, second guessing myself. Second guessing God, listening to that white noise. And I bawled on my kitchen floor, like, God, wait. Is it me? Am I tripping? Who am I listening to? God, help me. Give me some confirmation. Like, show me what this, and what he do. That same night, he gave me confirmation. I woke up the next day after crying my eyes out. Like, damn, I'm going against God. Because this is what they told me. I was like, nah. I told you. Let me show you exactly why I told you this. Let me bring you back to something that you did 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. Let me show you how when I told you to move then, and you listened without questioning, that you was moving with me. So right now, while you are questioning, this is confirmation that no, you heard me right. No, I told you to do that. No, this is exactly, and because you listen, this is the outcome. This is how you help change somebody else's life. This is how you free somebody else. If you've ever doubted yourself, was made to feel like you're less than, like you don't have no purpose, to doubt your gifts, to doubt with God, and this is for people who, you know for a fact, God has been telling you to move and do certain stuff, but you keep coming to Terry, you keep listening to these readers, your friends, your family, your lovers, and you keep, hey, should I, what you think about this, what you think about this, and God already gave you a word and told you to move, told you to do this, told you to plant this, told you to do. God ain't going to keep allowing you to go outside of him and keep asking these folks and listening to that white noise. You got to move. Do what he asked you to do. If you wholeheartedly believe that God is telling you to do it, for one, you've already should have been went into prayer about it with God, right? To qualify what it is that you feel. So once you do that, if you just happen to get it wrong, he is still ordering your steps. Trust in the Lord with all of your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths, not us. Not a tarot card, not a reading, not a fortune cookie, a lightning ball, a magic 8 ball, not a Ouija board, not your mama, not your daddy, not your uncle, cousin, sister, brother, prophets, apostles, preachers, deacons, usher. None of them gave you that word. So you shouldn't be trying to maneuver off of the words they give you or what they think God. Because as we saw in that old prophet, young prophet, that old prophet purposely lied and told that young prophet that an angel of the Lord said, when in that young prophet should have had some discernment, because if the Lord spoke to me directly, and you supposed to be a prophet, why are you hearing from an angel of the Lord and not the Lord directly? That would have been my first red flag. Well, hold on, Lord. Is you that busy that you sent an angel to talk to him? Yeah, you just hit me up. I don't think so. So obviously, God must have moved his hand off of you. And ain't it funny how God came back to that old prophet after the fact and said, hey, yeah, I know what you did. I know how you made them go off their path. I told them not to do it. And now because of you, they gotta die. Ooh, to have blood on your hands like that. I don't want it. I don't want it. It's a lot of stuff that has been showing up that God has been bringing to my attention. Things that I've been saying for the past 6 months. And no, I'm not about to pull cards. I really don't know why God made me make this channel. And sometimes he had me pull cards, and sometimes he just wants me to talk to y'all. Just like he has me post paragraphs on Facebook that I feel nobody even reads. But he's telling me to do it. And I would be a plumb fool to listen to the white noise telling me that I can't do something or I shouldn't do something because they think that I shouldn't do it. Or because I'm not getting likes. Or because nobody's commenting. Or because I'm getting dislikes. Or because people want to be argumentative or defensive or offended. I would be a plumb fool. I said I wasn't pulling cards, but I'm going to read these. I would be a plumb fool. Foolish to not listen to God. Even when I'm scared, even when I don't understand why he be having me do this, why he be having me reach out to certain people, why he had me share certain stuff, why he has me do these things, I realize after the fact, yeah, I do. In the moment, I don't. And even still so, sometimes after the fact, I don't. Sometimes it's not revealed to a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months later. Sometimes it's revealed immediately. But what I do know is I'm going to keep relying on God. I'm going to keep putting my weight on God. I'm going to keep trusting God. I'm going to keep moving with God. I'm going to keep consulting with God. And I'm going to keep doing what he wants me to do. Nothing is going to change that. And if God is telling you to do something, you better not let that white noise change that. Or that black noise. Whatever the black noise, as in the negative, telling you you're not somebody, telling you who you can't be, what you can't do, what's not right. Or the white noise, that irrelevant talking that people be doing. These two came out. We got Spectrum. Be blinded by the lights. And that's how you're going to have to move. Walk in light, let them be blinded by it. You cannot change who you are and who God called you to be, right? I can't. I tried. I begged God to take away gifts when I was little. Meanwhile, he bringing them all back. I beg, like, you're going to have to embrace your light. You can't force nobody to be embraced by your light. They just going to have to be blinded. And you, She-Hulk, do the right thing even if no one is watching. If nobody subscribes, nobody pays attention, nobody likes, nobody listens. Do what you are being called to do. Don't be that old prophet lying, trying to get that young prophet off the road from under that oak tree. Don't be that young prophet under that oak tree when you know you should have carried your ass home. You know you weren't supposed to have no drink. You weren't supposed to be breaking bread and drinking water with these folks. Yeah, you out here trying to break bread and water with these folks. You know what God told you to do. You know you're supposed to speak. But instead, you had to show you had some authority, and you struck that rock twice. Not once, but twice. And God said, just speak, and you're going to get water. O ye of little faith. God is not calling you to walk in the spirit of fear, but in peace, love, and a sound mind. Peace and knowing that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. That God is always with you and has you in his sights and in his home. Love, unconditional love for God, yourself, for others, and everything around you. Sound mind, qualify those thoughts, discernment, and listening to that voice of God and not the white noise or the black noise. Who's there?
Impatient pirate.
Impatient. Oh! Good joke. Are you finished homework?
Yep. Oh, it's a drink break. After the movie,
Yeah, because we need to do your hair, so hurry up.
okay. But good friend. It's easy to come out.
Your hair needs to be washed, so hurry up. Well, impatient pirate joke.